What's up guys, welcome back to another video. There hasn't been any wind for quite some time now, so in this episode of Caught in the Act, I'm going to do something a little different and I'm going to talk you through some of the gear that I've been using in Fuerteventura on my last trip. I've been putting it through its full paces. I'm going to talk you through some of the differences in my ultimate freeride setup. So let's get in some technical cheese. Caught in the Act on my YouTube channel. Right, okay. First port of call for me is to give away this harness. In one of my last episodes, I gave away this harness as a raffle to whoever has bought an item of my merch, which you can find in the link to every one of my vlog videos. So congratulations, Chris. I don't have your second name, but you won this harness. I'll get your delivery address and I will get this sent out with some Freeride Project merch as well. And make sure you stay tuned on my channel for more giveaways in the future. I'm going to be giving away some boards, some other things that I use during my time filming my vlogs. So make sure you stay tuned and subscribe. And if you've got any questions, comment below. Today, I got something a bit different for you as a video. I'm going to go over my favorite freeride setup, and these are the boards that I had with me on my recent trip to Fuerteventura. So I'm going to go back over some of the footage from that trip and really evaluate these boards for how they ride. We've got two different twin tips. We've got the Jaime SLS, we've got the Select Wood Core Standard Construction, and then my personal favorite wave ripper, the Whip SLS, which has been really surprising to me this year. So I'm going to give you a bit of a breakdown on those. But since I've just given away a harness, I think the biggest change bit of gear that I'm riding for 2021 is the new Ion Apex Curve harness. This is the Select model harness, and what makes it really interesting this season is it has the new Spectra spreader bar upgrade, which has made actually a much bigger difference than I thought it would to my riding. And the Spectra bar is this bit of carbon plate that runs along the back of the spreader bar and slides inside the Ion harness like this. So it gives an extra layer of stiffness and support through the front of the harness, which really helps to minimize rise in the harness if you're flying with your kite at 12, and just makes it more comfortable for shredding. And I'm really loving the Apex Curve as well with the C13 carbon back. And I used this almost the whole time I was in Fuerta, and it's got some really good feedback from the team. So that's my harness choice for this season. Right, let's move in to some board discussions then. I'll start with the twin tip. And for me, my personal favorite freeride twin tip, almost of all time, has been the Jaime.
Like the Rockets, gotta keep an eye in my pocket. You don't even like me, but you watching. Yeah, ballin' on hoes like the Rockets. Gotta keep an eye in my pocket. You don't even like me, but you watching. Yeah, ballin' on hoes like the Rockets. Gotta keep an eye in my pocket. You don't even like me, but you watching. Ballin' on hoes like the Rockets. Gotta keep an eye in my pocket. You don't even like me, but you watching. Yeah, I just got 8 in a Tesla. Left a nigga away from the chest up, then left him on red like the rest of them. Got your man calling my phone. Goddamn, won't leave me alone. He be all on my ass like a thumb. Cancel my hoe, got a new bitch. Real ass on her, she too thick. She gon' hit me up with some cool whip. Lucy, I'm hotter than the backwood. Been a bad bitch since childhood. Been ballin' on like hardwood.
Over the years, because it's the longest standing board model in the duotone range, and it's a classic design. They've really nailed the width, length and the proportions of this board, so it's really high performing all-rounder, and it takes the landings really well because it's a little bit wider than say the Select. It's actually wider on the plan shape. Combine that with the bottom concave channels and the things that they've really done well with the flex distribution, the shaping of the board, the feeling of the SLS construction flex gives you a really quick response on the water through takeoffs and landings. And the takeoffs are really precise with this board. If you use it with slightly bigger fins, it just delivers so nicely in almost all conditions. It goes upwind really well and just holds its own against, I would say, any twin tip out there. So you know, from somebody like myself, I've been riding boots a lot over the years. I've recently gone back to straps because of injury. This board has just nurtured me back into strap riding. And once I destroyed this board in Fuerteventura, I then moved on to the Select wood core. Which is, to be honest, totally different. And you wouldn't expect, looking at it here, for it to be like that different, because they look, let's face it, pretty similar. But like when you test them back to back on the water, it is amazing how much difference the construction makes. The wood core gives it a really slow reactive flex, which I would say just gives the whole board a totally different feeling, as well as the outline being a bit thinner. So for rail to rail carving and sort of use in choppy water, it's a really good option. The bottom shape is a bit more simple than the Jaime. It doesn't have the complex channel layout. It's got a very simple and predictable bottom shape. It just makes it a solid board really to ride. It's comfortable on the water. It is a little bit heavier due to its normal construction compared to the SLS. This why probably the Jaime gets it for me, if I'm gonna say, between the two boards. Make sure that you check out the Team Talk playlist on the Duotone channel as well, because I'm going to do a comparison between the SLS constructions, the Select SLS and the Jaime SLS. But for me, this is my quiver. This is what I'm riding currently, and this is what I've been riding in Fuerteventura. Now, moving on to what has become my favorite all-round wave strapless shred stick, and it is the Whip SLS. This is the 5.3, and I think it's like 21 litres. I think it's, yeah, no, 23 litres it is. It's 23 litres, the 5.3 size, so it's got a bit of volume for its size. And what really does it for me is its outline shape. It is, as you can see, not dissimilar from a twin tip in its outline shape. It's got really straight rails, really pronounced concave through the bottom of the board, which I think makes it ride, especially in flat water, very similar to a twin tip. You can really get the rails involved for grip, and when you take it into the waves, it holds its own. I've had this out in some really big waves over the last few months, and it just has not batted an eyelid at dealing with some of the stuff that I've put it through. From pretty fast bottom turns to pretty critical top turns, it holds its own. Another thing that has been amazing to me is the SLS construction. I treated this board pretty badly, stuffing it in the back of the hire cars and just generally just using it really hard in Fuerteventura, and it hasn't even got a scratch on it, to be fair. It hasn't got any pressure dings whatsoever, and yeah, it's still ready for a shreddy. So that's it for this episode of Caught in the Act. Let me know if you like this sort of gear talk. I will do more of it. Maybe next time I'll go over my wing foiling setup, my kite choices, or whatever you guys want. Let me know, comment below, and subscribe to my channel. And see you next time on Caught in the Act.